Hi everyone, I'm Chris Clark, the virtual trombonist, and I'm back with my second of my ATSSB masterclass videos for this year. This is for the Year A etudes, and the one I'm going to be talking about today is the Bohme vivace etude. I've already recorded this etude all the way through, just like with last week's, the Gatti. You can find it on SoundCloud, and if you want to download it there, you can. So I probably won't play it all the way through on this video just for time's sake. I'd like to talk more today about how to work on this. It's pretty straightforward, but there's a few things I think are very important for us to pay attention to as players. First things first, let's talk about the tempo. This is marked, I believe, let me look. Yeah, 66 being the bottom end tempo, which I think is quite fast. I think I recorded it at around 60 to 62, and I think it's way more important to play this at a tempo you can make it sound clean, not frantic, and definitely play it in tune. So I think 66 is really asking a lot of anybody. 76, not me. So to me, that's now I've worked on this some, it's very comfortable. I always consider when I'm performing something, I want it to sound natural. I don't want it to sound unnaturally fast or hurried or frantic. It's got to sound like music. This could easily turn into just simply a technical exercise of who can play the fastest. A lot of people, and I say this to my students all the time, lots of people come to auditions and play fast. Very few people come and play fast with great intonation, great time, some musical ideas that are happening, dynamics, all those kind of things. So there's a lot more to think about in this piece other than just playing fast. Now, but let's talk about this fast stuff. So how do you practice this? Well, if you've watched any of my videos, I'm sorry, this answer is probably getting pretty boring for you, but it's the truth. You have to practice this stuff slow. And I'm making this video on, what's today? September 26th. So, you know, if you've got a month or month and a half, you know, you can really do some slow practicing on this. And here's what I mean. Running out of air there. So when you practice slow and you start running out of air, take a breath. That's okay. If you need to go slower, go even slower. Do whatever you need to do to play with a great sound, great intonation, and great time. And you speed it up a little bit at a time. You know, I would start this at a slower tempo, use eighth notes. Da, 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 dee, da, da, da. I don't know what that is, about 92 for the eighth note, probably. So I'd start it at 92, and I would practice it every day this week at 92, and I wouldn't go any faster. I wouldn't even worry about it. Just 92. Really great sound, really great time, really great intonation. day after day. Next week, I'd bump the metronome up to maybe 96. Same thing, every day, 96, 96, 96. Wouldn't go any faster. Week after that, maybe I'm up to 100. Just keep moving it up until you can play it faster. It takes time. That means you have to start practicing long before the audition day gets there. Let's talk about the other elephant in the room with this etude. That is the rhythm and time. And this is a difficult etude to play perfectly in time because of the tied notes, where we have the dotted quarters tied to a 16th across the bar. The tendency always, whenever you see this kind of rhythm, is to be late. I mean, 9 times out of 10, even for me playing it, it's very easy to be late on it all the time. So one of the ways I practice something like this is to subdivide the dotted quarter into eighth notes. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to do that every time I play this for the first few weeks, so that once I start playing it with the note sustained, I'm thinking that pulse in my head all the time. And in fact, I'll start doing this after what I just did. Breath pulses for the eighth notes. That way, when I get to performance level, I'm thinking that in my head all the time. That way I can take a breath and still come back in relatively in time. It's, as I said, it's very difficult to play this perfectly in time every time. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try and get as close as you can, but this subdivision is what will do it for you. Nothing else will. Nothing else will, I promise. So I'll set my metronome on eighth notes at the tempo I want to practice. Make sure I'm being honest about this subdivision thing. And that does a lot to keep you honest on this. Practicing it with eighth notes on the metronome is key, and just subdividing. What about the wide slurs? That's another thing that can be hard. And again, I'm just really thinking about grabbing onto the low note. With the right notes, that helps. But really trying to not be so worried about getting the top note that you slight the bottom note. Really dig into it. Going for good sound on that note. Let's talk about the breathing. That's another thing that's hard in this. You've got the last two lines. I don't know who picked this. Whoever you are out there. Very cruel. The last two lines that basically have to play in one breath. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, at forte, I'm not playing this in one breath. It just ain't going to happen. So, what are you going to do? The thing you're going to do is you're going to take a breath. There's two ways to do it. So, a little messy, but I left a note out, the last measure of the next to last line. And if you're going to do it that way, pick a spot, put brackets around the note, and do it the same way every time. Listen to that again. So I left that last 16th out. I think that's a pretty good way to do it. It doesn't interrupt the time if you do it well. It doesn't interrupt the flow of the piece. And it may feel awkward at first. You might find a different note to leave out. I would leave out, obviously, the second 16th of an eighth. So, ba da 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 dee da 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 dee, something like that. You just have to play around with it till you find something that feels somewhat natural, and then mark it and do it every time. That will really help that. The other thing is the retard going into the forte recap of the theme. You really got to take a big breath after that. So I'm going to take a breath before that long forte dotted quarter and after it. So I got a quick breath before it and a quick breath after it, so I'm really at my max capacity of air there. Okay, this etude is really about time and sound at a fast tempo. So getting a good sound at a quick tempo and playing with excellent time. Lots of people will struggle with that. So do your best to subdivide, play with the metronome, and work that as much as you can. I hope that helps. Again, if you have any comments or questions, please leave comments, questions after the video, either on YouTube or on my website. There's also a contact form on my website. You can send me an email if you want to ask me a private question. So thanks so much for watching today. You can find me on virtualtrombonist.com, Virtual Trombonist on Facebook, and Virtual Trombonist on Instagram. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck with your auditions.
Hey, this is Chris, the Virtual Trombonist. Thanks a lot for watching today. If you haven't already subscribed to my blog, go to virtualtrombonist.com, fill out the subscription form. That way you won't miss any of my posts. You can also find me on Facebook at Virtual Trombonist and the same handle at Instagram. Thanks a lot for watching.